All right. I think this is working. Not sure. Hello? Are you out there? I'm sure you are. I had to readjust something there. It's kind of a glitch on an iPad. Not bad, not good, because it kind of saves energy that when you're out of a certain program, the Shure MVI turns off. So you're actually saving power. And I don't have much right now on my iPad. I was trying to get it to work through the what's called the camera kit, accessory kit, but it said that it required too much power to move the audio and power it at the same time through the camera kit. But I'm going to try later. I'm going to charge it while it's hooked up and see if it works that way, because it might just need to have plug-in power at the same time. All right. So, what a tangled web that has been woven, but it's like anything else. They don't care. You know, they run naked down the street and laugh. The deep state's right now in full stride running naked down the street and going, we're not naked. No, we're not naked at all. And everybody else is too afraid to tell them that they're naked. No, you're not. You're not naked. Well, at least those that are given over to those things of fear. Like I told you, you can feel fear all day long. It's not you. It's something attacking your central nervous system. You have to fight it the best you can. So I'm kind of up in the air on what day I'm moving. The weather is kind of changing. When I moved last time, the weather was worse than anything I'm going to run into this time. It was snowing when I left Santa Fe, or had snowed that day. I picked up the truck and the trailer, and it was snowing. And the day before, it was cold. That day, it was like 38 degrees or something. And I was fine. I mean, you keep moving. It's just like 2 or 3 days of misery, and then you're okay. So, again, if I waited until my rent would run out, I would probably run into colder weather. But if you keep moving, I know how to dress. But it is attractive, some of the weather in between now and then, that would make the easier move for sure. Car is still kind of getting around. Has a little slippage in it, especially when it's cold, so I'm trying to take it as easy as I can. I still have to call Experian again and ask them, this is open and shut, how long is it going to take? So I get my credit cleared. Well, the deep state looks to be as exposed as they could ever be in this day and age of covert spycraft activity. So again, when they control the mechanisms of law enforcement and intelligence, which is what the criminal enterprise did, is what the Russians attempted to do, and they might be still part of it, because at a certain point they disconnected to make it look good. However, they engaged in activity that controlled. I have to change lanes here, I gotta be careful. That controlled law enforcement, intelligence, and government in key positions. Now, I like to think that, Sessions is just somebody who was overwhelmed as the Attorney General. But we don't need another Romney, and I understand that, he served his country his whole life, but a lot of people have, in much more difficult positions. And there's a time to move along. I think, what's that guy's name? I can't remember the congressman's name. I was just thinking of him yesterday. I think his first name's Mo. I can't remember his last name. Because they're in here blocking it. They're all focusing on me. I'm driving. I can't look it up. If I had a helpmeet, she could look it up. I think that congressman has proven himself to be able to be that senator. Again, everybody has an opinion about what happened with Mr. Sessions. However, I think we're in a tough time right now. And quite frankly, if you go back to when Mr. Sessions was in the Justice Department, he was instructing the president to do something different. And it's kind of how and Lindsay did the same thing. They were instructing the president to listen to people that would not have taken the president as far as they've taken him. Would he have had a better presidency? Yes. Would he have sold out the American public? Yes. Listen to these people who would tell you how to navigate the deep state and be famously corrupt. So again, those truths are self-evident. We are at a different juncture now. He may feel more empowered to do the right thing instead of bowing down to the deep state. So, again, there's choices that people make throughout life. We are in a full... You say hi to Norman PD. Hi, Norman PD. We are in full end times mode here. We are in full risk to democracy mode. Again, no violence. Always be peaceful. But you need to realize the seriousness of what's happening. And the president is slowly moving you forward in that direction. So I'm trying to figure out what day would be best to move along. And I'm not telling you that the grass is greener in Tyler, Texas or not. I'm just not telling you that. I explained my life to you before. Obviously, I got stuck in Santa Fe longer than I should have, but it happens. I had to figure it out for God, and it wasn't me saying, I have to figure this out for God. God's moving it so I can figure out who they are, what they're doing, what the psychology behind it is. So there's powers that are readjusting based upon what I'm doing in the lives of other people also. Who and what becomes more credible on the earth is not based upon just happenstance credibility, meaning you can be more credible on the earth and be made out to look like a liar. It's the way earth works. But if you can make a case, you can become credible. And that includes God. How does God become credible? By God's people making that case. If you're part of the deep state and claim to be God's people, earth will accept that. And say, okay, you're God's people, and this is how we make credibility by lying about people. And cursing them to hell on earth and to sin. And you know what? Cursing somebody to sin, Cursing somebody to commit crimes is cursing somebody to hell on earth. But of course, their hell on earth includes other pains, physical pains. So God is not mocked. Well, they had extreme psychopathic people within their departments and agencies and working for them in the private sector, and they look for them. They look for those type of people. They're using psychological methods to include surreptitious drugging to bring about a certain end in people's lives. In some lives, it's death. And in all lives, they do affect the health and reduce the reduce the lifespan. I'm just trying to minimize my allergy medicine, so I'm kind of. I'm hoping I won't need it when I get down to Tyler. It's kind of a low ragweed. I spoke to my mother earlier. She said, "Yeah, there was a lot of pine around here when you grew up, so you're probably not allergic to pine." So again, what I've been explaining the deep state is and what they do is what they've been doing to the president. And now Weissman wants to say, well, Lisa Page has not done anything wrong. You know, he's making fun of President Trump and Roger. He thinks it's funny. But that's deep state arrogance. It's communist arrogance. Remember, communism is not liberal nor conservative. It's something completely different. You can be a conservative communist. You can be a liberal communist. Our government employees are communists, and a large portion of them are conservative communists. Which means they're in no way American in reality. They're so far out of the United States. This is where the Russians took them. Obviously, the FBI was inundated with additional Hansons. So they're so arrogant, based upon decades of that they're going to make fun of Roger Stone and President Trump, highlighting the fact that they can do whatever they want, commit as many crimes as they want, and they're going to have their outcome. But I don't think that is going to be true in the end. We still have 4 more years. Actually, I guess 5 more years. The reality is, if in fact Mr. Durham is real and the Attorney General is real, the truth of that entire Mueller scenario will be tested in the coming months and years. So the judges are going to find quite possibly some shocking truth, but if they're corrupt, then the judges aren't going to find that because they're going to hide that. They're going to engage in damage control, which is a form of injustice, and we as a nation suffer for that. And if they're powerful enough to be such devils on earth, then, you know, God will take it up in the afterlife. I don't care how many times you go to church, how many times you say Jesus. If you are the deep state, which is synonymous with the beast, God will judge you harshly for that. There's no doubt. It's just the problem is they don't understand that part of the Bible. That's one of the good things in being in Baptist churches and fundamental churches. They understand the beast a little bit more, but of course God gave me the additional information. Well, praise God in all that you do. Praise God.